Hello and welcome to another SH Figuarts Realbone review thing. Boy, this one was expensive. Well, I missed out on that tiny small pre-order window for the figure, so I had to pay way too much for this. As you can see here, it is a Time Machine Nations 2019 exclusive thing, and then a limited amount of it was put online for pre-order, both on the Premium Bandai Japan site and the Hong Kong one, and I'm guessing the other Singapore and Taiwan ones had those as well. And from what I can tell, I'm not sure we're going to get that big a batch of this DN figure, which is frustrating because he is a popular character and most of the figure is just the same as the Decade figure. So yeah, frustrating, but just because this is a little bit different, let's quickly take a look at the box art. You can see DN there posing all this fancy art and stuff. All of the other special figures sold during this Time Machine event has a sleeve of similar art designs, so there you go. But underneath that sleeve, you can see that you just have a standard Realbone Figuarts box. Time Machine Nations there, Bandai logo, 20th Heisei Rider. And then the back of the box shows you some details of this figure. So how does this figure compare to the original DN Figuarts or the other Realbone Decado figure? Let's take a closer look. Here we are. This figure stands at just under 6 inch, so 5 inches and 5.9 inches. Here is the Kamen Rider Decado figure, which I think is just a little bit shorter just because of the helmet shape. And here is the old DN Figuarts and the DN Complete Form Figuarts, just for a quick comparison. And you see here, this figure is basically the same figure from like the torso downward. It just has different armor pieces, a different belt buckle and different helmets, and of course the different paint job. Otherwise he is the same figure. In terms of accessories, both these figures come with the fists already attached to them. Both figures come with a pair of relaxed hands, a pair of gun holding hands, and a pair of card holding hands. The new DN also comes with a hand that looks like, and a pair of bike holding hands, even though he never rode a bike in the show or any of the movies. Both of these of course come with the DN gun. Now in the old figure, the DN gun is not adjustable, it's just in permanent open mode, and of course the details are not as good. Whereas the new one, you can adjust that. The Kamen Rider DN Complete Form Figuarts did however come with a closed gun as an extra accessory. So with the old figures you can have open and closed, but you just have to have the complete form to do that. And the paint job is excellent and it actually has the function. Also has a little bit of a click so it doesn't slide all over the place. You can put a card in here and then just like in the real thing and open it up. And sometimes the card is in the middle, sometimes not. I find that, you know, if you just hold it down that way, you can open it and, you know, the card will slide in. You can also slide the card in this way. There's no, you know, transparent plastic or anything covering it up. So you can get the card out in or out either way. So this just avoided the chance of the card getting stuck. However, you know, that also means that the card can fall out, so be careful with that. There's a bit of a dent just around here, so the card can just, you know, go on the side, so when the gun's like that, the card won't slide out. So they've done things as best as they can to avoid the card falling out too easily, while also avoiding the card getting stuck in the gun itself. Silver paint job is really nice, silver tip down there. The overall lining on this is all very good, and once again, I really do like the actual function of this gun. Here's a quick look at the original gun from the original Figuarts. You can see that because it doesn't have the gimmick, it is a very flat piece accessory, and in some ways it does look better than the new one just because of how flat and thin it is. Whereas, you know, even with the toy, the X-Toy for example, it should have a bumpiness. So I think both of these, somewhere in the middle would be the most accurate look for this gun, but just with the added bonus of the functioning and actually putting cards in there, and for the new one, that makes it a lot better. The Kamen Rider DN Complete Form comes with the open gun as well as this closed mode, like a bonus accessory, which really should have come with the original Figuarts anyway, but here we go. Here it is, and yeah, you can see the size is so much smaller. Just way different. The paint on the other version is honestly not bad, but you don't have that metallic shine on the blue DN logo and such, and all the lining of course a lot thinner, the whole thing's a lot thinner, and so the old gun is not bad at all as a prop, for example. But if you want more playability, the new one, yeah, trumps it. And also comes with his Neo gun, which is just the same accessory, just done in blue, depending whichever color you like. I'm of course gonna mostly stick with the older gun. I mean, this one is a nice accessory to have. I'm so glad Bandai just didn't release two figures, one with each gun. That would have been really annoying. the whole economy of Japan would have collapsed. Godzilla would have come out and destroyed the planet. So I'm so glad they didn't do that. But yeah, so both of these guns are pretty excellent. The N also comes with a set of 25 cards, including the basic attacks for DN, all of the secondary rider summoning cards, as well as his own complete form card and the final attack cards and some of his other attacks. And just for reference, the Neo Decade figure also came with 25 tiny little plastic cards. The original Realbone Decade came with 15 cards because there were just less characters back then. As for the original DN figure, it comes with these. It's a cardboard that you gotta cut out yourself. I mean, you know, it's nice that these are printed there, and they're printed okay. Since the new DN figure doesn't come with any like evil riders, so the printouts for the old one, you know, you got the Riot Troopers, and you know, and these other ones, and those of course don't exist with the new DN figures. So there's still some unique stuff that you can get here, but these are just cardboard, so it's not very nice. I'm thinking that if you do want extra sort of DN summoning cards and all that, you can easily just find some scans of the Gambaroid cards and then just print them out and then laminate them, and that would be fine. If you've seen my review of the new version of the Kamen Rider Decade figure, we pretty much have the same differences here. The old version of the figure is way more skinny. A lot of joints don't have the paint details on them. The coloring on this is a little bit faded, and of course he's much shorter than SH Figuarts are these days. The joints are much more visible, and the detailing on the belt buckle is just kinda not there compared to the new one. Well, let's start from the head here. Now, one of the things I'm really disappointed about this one is that we still don't actually have any compound eye effects with the new DN figure. However, it is painted much more accurate to the show, so that's okay. Of course, the head and the whole plates, of course, much different size, and the painting is slightly different. We've got a very nice matte finish to the head on the new one, whereas the old one is just all shiny. But I mean, the old one isn't bad. It's just when you look at the new one, it's just such a big difference. The detailing is also a lot more exaggerated on the old one. The proportions just aren't quite right. The shoulder pads on the old one are also attached to the arm, but they're much more stiff and really get in the way when trying to pose the figure. Whereas the new one, you can sort of just really push it out the way. It does look weird and not quite natural, and doesn't quite match what it is in the show, but I'd rather have a bit more articulation and options than, you know, having that limitation. And of course, you know, you can always just not move your arm past that odd area and just have it look more natural that way anyway. It's just nice that the option is there. Armor, it's, yep, just the same difference. It's just more of a nicer matte finish overall, as this one's just really shiny, and actually mine has a bit of a molding issue there and just looks a bit off. But otherwise, that one isn't terrible. It's just, you know, the scale is a bit different. Notice that these bits are a lot flatter, whereas this one's more exaggerated, so it does hinder the head articulation a little bit. But if it's accurate to the show, then, you know, that's better. Quickly going through the body, like I said, it is the same difference between the Decade figures. Just a lot more, like, better scale, not too skinny, and of course the blue on my old one is faded. Both this and the Decade figure has the cutout on the armor there, which is just like the old figure, but of course we do have the paint jobs there. I'm just going to focus on the belt now. You can see that there's actually a bump on the DN logo, whereas the old one is just stamped on. It's a flat detail. We also have tiny little colored circles on the buckle, whereas the old one is just white. And of course, the coloring is a lot nicer. On the side here, both these do have the little card holder. The old one is just quite chubby and small, whereas this one is much more to scale and almost looks like you can open it with the different shine and matte finishes, but you can't open it, just like the old one. Both these can rotate just a little bit, I'm guessing just to help get out the way when moving the figure. So can this one rotate all the way around? Yes, both of them can rotate all the way around. The old one is that it does have die-cast feet, so it can pose and stand a bit better than the new one that uses just plastic feet. Articulation-wise, double board joint on the neck, but yep, these shoulder things do hinder it quite a lot. Look down, look up. Shoulder pads move out the way. You got the, I think someone called it butterfly jump, but there's a double board joint thing going on. So a bit of rotation there. Arm can go very high up. Full rotation here, full rotation up the shoulder. Double elbow joint. He can move quite far up depending where the shoulder pad is. So there is an extra rotation here on the lower arm. That's a full rotation because once you rotate it, you don't have the joint slot for it to move. and it's only the ball peg and swivel. It also moves very far back and very far forward, sideways, sideways, full rotation here, leg goes up, back, sideways. There's a ball joint here, so it's not just rotating, but you can also just move on the socket just a little bit. Double knee joint, foot goes forward, backwards. See, toe joint goes up, down, and we have sideways, sideways, not so much the other way. And just here's a quick look at the bottom of his shoe. The figure itself, the molding is pretty excellent. Of course, it's based on the real bone stuff. Of course, all of them are going to have much better proportions. All the other things that aren't related to proportions, such as the belt details, the card holder details, the helmet details, are all pretty nice. Once again, I'm not a fan that they still don't have an actual compound eye effect. If you look at close-ups of the helmet, he does have a transparent eye. That's missing here. The paint job does a pretty good job with it to simulate the transparent effect, but it is not transparent. That's the thing. I don't know if they can do transparent eyes with Decade. Why can't I do it with here? Is it just too hard? I don't think so. Maybe another 10 years later they'll upgrade it again. Oh look, real detail at the end. I don't know. In terms of the figure itself, quality control, I have seen a few people complain the left arm has cracking issues. There's none on mine at the moment, but that's something you need to be aware about. The overall movement is pretty smooth, just like the Decade figure, and the overall paint job is pretty excellent on mine. The quality control on mine is pretty good, and for the most part I've not seen anyone else complain about quality control, aside from I think 2 people with that arm issue. In terms of accessories, I'm pretty happy with what we've got here. I'm so glad we do have the 2 guns and didn't separate them as 2 releases. That would have been really annoying, especially considering how expensive some of these figures can be. For us to be able to buy 2 would be really silly, so I'm glad they're both here. The hand option is also really good, and I'm so happy that he comes with the bike holding hands, just in case you want him to ride on something. And this is a huge contrast to the Decade version of Kamen Rider Kuuga that I just reviewed, and he doesn't come with any bike holding hands, despite the hands are slightly painted compared to the original release of Kuuga. The card options that come with him are also pretty good for posing, although being DN, of course, he does summon a lot of evil riders, and we don't get any of those cards here. So if you want any of those, fortunately, it is quite easy to just print something out and laminate it. So overall, if you're a Kamen Rider Decade fan, this is a really good figure to pick up. As a Kamen Rider figure itself is also pretty good, and as an SH Figuarts, it's also a pretty good release. But the problem comes down to the price. I paid way more than I should have for this, but I just really like this figure, and I missed the tiny window for the actual pre-order from Premium Bandai. So unfortunately I won't be able to pay the roughly original price of these Real Bone releases. If you like Kamen Rider DN, I've seen a few of these go lower than the price I paid for it. So if you like it, then I mean, look, if you really like this character, and he is a really cool character to have, then this is a good time to pick him up. I don't think his price is going to drop any further. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Just like the Decade figure, people are going to be scrambling to get a hold on theirs, and if you miss the short window to get it, you're not going to see it anymore. And that's really unfortunate and annoying. I wish Bandai would produce more of these so the price would go down. I wish the pre-order window would be a bit bigger, and I wish this wasn't like a Tamashii Nations exclusive and then a very limited Premium Bandai exclusive. There is a second batch of stock coming out sometime next year. I think it's March or May, so you might want to try your bets there if you can wait. But I'm pretty sure on that day, on that release day, people are going to be rushing out to pick up 1 box of these or 2 boxes of these if they can, and then they're just going to hoard it and then resell it at a higher price. So if you like this figure, then maybe wait, but if you really like this character, then it's probably not going to get much cheaper than it is right now, which is very unfortunate because it is a good figure, it's just the price is somewhat unreasonable. Sad times. So Bandai, I'm going to get the Real Bone versions for Complete Decade and Complete DN. That would be really nice because the old figures really can't stand next to these newer ones. So if you really like the DN character and you can't afford this one, the old one is okay, but you just have to pose him in a different way. You just have to pose him cleverly when taking photos and such, so he doesn't look too short when compared to the newer figure. So there you go, good figure. hard to get. As always, you can support this channel by clicking the thumbs up button if you like this figure, or if you hate this figure, you can put the thumbs down. Maybe you hate Bandai for releasing this the way they did, so put a thumbs down like. As always, you can also support this channel by watching my videos with ad block turned off, sharing this video with other people who find this useful, and please check out the Photoshop time-lapse video that I would have on this figure, as well as checking out the photos on Facebook, Imgur, Tumblr, and a few other places you can see in the video description below. Finally, you can also support this channel via Patreon. But as always, take care, have a nice day. I will see you guys soon. Bye bye now.